All right, so joining us now, Panther, great former Panther captain, Panther broadcaster, Ed Jovanovski here with us. Ed, let's get right to it. Look at that smile on your face. Look at
Yeah.
that. So take me through the finish to the game, where you were, people around you, and then just what it was like when the clock hit zero.
Well, we were up on the club level. Uh, all the family and friends that we enjoyed the game with. Just on the edge of my seat, Zaz. I think. I mean, you look at that game. You knew it was going to be a tight game. Almost next goal wins type. And when Rhino ended up getting that second goal, I looked over to my brother. I said to him, "I think that's going to seal it." Still a lot of hockey. It was an excellent third period. We didn't give him much. And yeah, when that puck goes into the corner, you're just kind of you're ready to celebrate, but you're still looking at the clock and you're kind of watching the players on the bench. But wow, what a feeling! Just on the media side of things of covering the team, it was a special night. I'm so happy for that group.
It ended the way that I dreamt it, the way I envisioned it, where I had this. My vision was, it's a 1-goal game and we're fighting them off, and just the clock is ticking down in our zone, and just can we not allow that final opportunity? Like, it totally went down the way that I dreamt it would, just watching that clock seconds tick down, as opposed to like we're up 3-0 and everybody knows that we're winning.
Right.
It was just, and pinning it against the boards, which of course is the way they won the Eastern Conference Championship too. That game was so Panther hockey. It was the most Panther hockey game it could have possibly been.
Absolutely, and it was great, to see them find that game, heading into this game 7. I guess that's the only probably, the worst part of this. I guess not the worst part. More exciting part would have been, an overtime game.
Oh,
I don't know if I could have been able to handle that, but yeah, I mean, from the forecheck to the top guys. Really kind of, you look at Verhaeghe's been a little quiet the last couple games. Rhino, those two guys to have the goals and just to play stingy hockey. I think this group, you hear a lot of the comments coming out. This team was deep, and that depth really came to the forefront in that game 7.
How was the crowd?
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable from the moment we got in there. There was actually surprising a ton of Edmonton Oilers when we were pulling up to the rink, busloads and busloads of Edmonton Oilers fans. But we overpowered them. Our fans were great that night, and just the way you see how long the fans stayed after the game, watching the festivities, watching the celebration. I'm glad the guys really shared it with the fans, and it was a special night, man. One we'll never forget.
All right, so you're a defenseman, and so you're a good guy to talk to about this. In his second go-round with the team, just like you had a second go-round, in his second go-round with the team, did Dmitry Kulikov make the biggest play in Panther history?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I don't know if you ask him, he probably didn't know which direction he was going into the net there. I mean, it was all over the place, but. Not only that plays I talked to him after the game in the locker room. I told him he was a beast all year. He was a consistent player. And as you get older, you know what you can do and how your game needs to be. But he was rejuvenated this year. He's so happy to come back and to have an opportunity to win with them. But he was steady. I mean, all their D were good. They were simple. They were hard. They were physical. But Cooley and Forsling definitely made 2 huge plays in front of the net.
There were moments after the game with the team celebrating, and now we're getting stories coming out and little anecdotes about, the players, about the cup, about what it means to them. Has there been something that has stood out to you, like a favorite, like something you didn't know and that you learned about the team, or something that you saw in the celebration that has been your favorite thing so far?
There's one thing. I think just walking into that locker room after the game and just seeing, a bunch of grown men party that the way that these guys were getting after it, how close, hugging. I mean, you've obviously heard the exchange between Okposo and Coach. You know, I think on the lines it might be older, but doesn't, it adds to the legacy or whatever. But I mean, stuff like that. Just a guy like Okposo who's been around for a long time, and Coach Maurice having been around forever, and finally hoisting the cup and sending the message to his dad that Maurice is going to be on the cup, along with his dad's heroes, right? And but yeah, I think it's just a special feeling. I really don't know. I mean, if there was one thing, I think just having the opportunity to kind of be around those guys during that moment, and seeing how much these guys really love each other. And we can say that a lot, right? I don't think this group has any sort of cliques to their group. I think they're all in one. And it certainly shows on the ice and off the ice as well.
I mean, Jova, the whole thing, it just seemed so genuine to me. It seemed so real. And from handing Paul Maurice, Spencer Knight, which I thought was really nice that he got to be there. Spencer Knight handing the cup to Coach Maurice, and he whispered whatever he whispered to the cup and raising it over his head with his eyes closed. Just you can't force that type of emotion. It was all so real.
And that's who Maurice is. And yeah, it was great seeing Spencer, hoist the cup. I think it was a great, gesture on the team having him on the ice, because we know, let's face it, I mean, this guy's the future of the franchise. So, but yeah, Maurice, I mean, just that sigh, I don't know if it's sigh of relief or just a long ass year, right? You look at where this team was last year, scratching and clawing, get into the playoffs and making the run to the final. And then guys were saying, listen, we're going to be back. We learned from this. And just to go through the season that they went through this year, it's a long year. And you go right to the bitter moment, Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final, and win it. It was better winning it in 7 than winning it in 4 or 5. I tell you that much. Yeah. It makes it that much more like, you know what? We had to persevere. We had our ebbs and flows in the finals, but at the end of the day, we found our best game in the most important game, and that builds each one of these players' confidence. The organization to win a big game like that says a lot about this group.
I mean, Ed, you were here in the beginning, or close to the beginning. When you win a championship, and in this case, the Stanley Cup, we saw it with the Miami Heat. When you win a championship, you're golden forever with the fan base. You capture a generation of fans who are going to love the team forever and pass it along to their children. Like, after 30 years, the Panthers are finally there. Like, the franchise is golden now in this market.
Absolutely. Everyone loves a winner, right, Zaz? And you see it right now with that cup trolling around town. I mean, you've cemented yourself as a Stanley Cup champion in this era, and we've had sports teams, to win championships here. So it's nice for the Panthers after 30 years to kind of jump into that group. And you'll always be looked upon as the group that, got this done. And for us to be able to witness it firsthand, it was special, man.
So I want to talk to you about what you just mentioned there, the cup being taken around Fort Lauderdale Beach, Elbow Room, American Social, in the Atlantic Ocean, with the fans there celebrating with the champion Florida Panthers. I know this happens in every city that wins the cup, but you don't see this in other sports. There's no security guards following the players on the beach. There's no ropes that are keeping the fans away from the players in the cup. They're with us. They're with the fans. They're celebrating with us. it's so different from the other sports.
It is, and you've been around sports a long time, and hockey players are a different breed. I think we want, to have this celebration and have the fans enjoy it with us. I mean, always you're going to be weary of, yes, security things, but listen, this is a happy moment. You're in this situation. I think the more the merrier for this team, and I think you hear Maurice's comments, you get to share the cup. And I think that's the most important thing, for us, that us fans, now we cover the team. Essentially, we're fans of the team, to have the opportunity right after the game to go in the locker room and hang out for a few hours and drink out of the cup and take pictures with the cup. I'm not sure that you get that in any other sport. The dressing room was filled with people I didn't recognize, but it was obviously associated with players. So everyone got to share, this special moment with the group. And I think that's what hockey guys all are about. And you see the Stanley Cup, it makes its rounds, throughout the year. They really want to get that cup out. So I'm sure there'll be a couple more stories and a couple more videos probably going to resurface here in a little bit.
Ed, did you lift the cup after the game?
I did, buddy. I had to. Listen, I think for me, being a few games away from winning it, being on this side of it, right now covering the team, I got to drink out of it and I raised it.
That is something. That is so great. Well, I mean, look, I'm sure you've spoken to a lot of fans the last couple of days. It was the best sports fan experience of my life. The whole run, watching it with my kids. They never experienced a championship. They're young teenagers, and experience it with your kids as an adult, as opposed to growing up a Panther fan. It's a different ball game when you're with your family and doing it with your kids. It was the greatest fan experience of my life a few nights ago. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I'm glad to be part of it. It's it's so amazing. It's so great. Ed, have fun the next few days. I'm sure you're going to continue with the partying. Thank you so much. Anytime you've joined us throughout this season, I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Zaz. Glad to jump on with you.